Hi, I'm Carrie. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a VR to Kristy over at Green Eye Tarot and her decks for the Descent tag that she created, and she had tagged me in her video. So I wanted to make sure that I did a response to that. I'm a little bit late in getting to my response. I believe she put her VR out in September and I am showing this in November, so a little bit late, but better late than never. This is basically the decks that I am using to prep me or get me in the mood for or something like that in regards to the darker half of the year. And I believe she showed some books in her video also, so I am going to show some books that I have sitting out on my coffee table that I am wanting to read as we move into the darker half of the year. Since it is November when I am doing this video, I have already begun to work with some of these decks. Spooky season just ended and I played around with the decks I wanted to in regards to that time, but now it's time to get into I don't want to say deeper decks because all decks have a level of deepness to them. But I've noticed that the decks that I'm using recently are bringing up a little bit of the shadow. So let's start there. The first deck I'm going to show is the Pensive Tarot by Rhys Marin. This deck I picked up secondhand. I am really enjoying working with this deck. I have used it for a handful of readings so far. Every single reading that I've done with this deck has been on the extreme intense side of a reading. It's like if there was a meter to calm to intense. This is like a level 10 of intenseness for me in regards to readings that I've been doing with it. I think it's the imagery. I really do. Some of this imagery I feel is so powerful and speaks to me on that level, and it really pulls out the shadow side of some readings for me. It really calls me out on some of the readings that I've done with this, and it's not a wishy-washy deck of any kind, and I didn't expect it. Honestly, I didn't expect this deck to be like this for me, so that was quite a surprise. But because of that, and because of its intensity and its straightforwardness and things of that nature, it's really drawing me to work with it, number one. And it is feeling like one of those darker decks where you want to do deeper work and maybe not so many lighthearted readings, so to speak. So I'm really interested to see where this deck is going to take me in the end. So another deck that I pull out at this time of the year, and I work with this really all through the winter season. I will pull this out at other times if I'm doing specific goddess work, because I like to use this with a specific goddess that I work with, but I do like to use it in general through the fall and winter season. And that's the Urban Crow Oracle. This is the mass market edition. This deck just puts you in mind of fall and winter approaching, and it's all through the way the imagery is. The fact that it's crows, that's another thing for me that leads right into that fall wintry season. And there's a lot of grays and muted colors in this deck. That's another thing that draws me into that fall and winter season. This is a fantastic oracle. I really do enjoy this. It's one that is another one, like I spoke of with the Pensive Path, that'll just call you out. It'll call you out on exactly what is happening and going on. You could go into the guidebook if you choose to, but I think the keywords on here and just looking at maybe the imagery and everything can give you enough to go on and spark your intuition in order to really lead you a little deeper with the card. So I really do enjoy using this in the fall season. So let's talk about a book. Consorting with the Spirits, Your Guide to Working with Invisible Allies by Jason Miller, author of Protection and Reversal Magic. The foreword is by Matt Aron, who wrote The Psychic Witch. I have had this for a few months now. Oh, maybe I got this last year. I don't recall. And I had plans on reading this through the month of October, and that month was just craziness is what it was. So I did not have a chance to explore this fully, and I really do want to read more about it. But anyway, on the back it says, throughout history, humans have sought power and knowledge from the spirits. Learning how to conjure, communicate with, and negotiate with these unseen powers is one of the keys to success in magic. Consorting with Spirits presents a detailed explanation of what spirits are, their different classifications, and how they exist in relation to the world we normally perceive. I can't remember if I spoke of this book in one of my other wrap-ups, maybe even last year, that I wanted to dive into this and read it. I honestly don't remember. But if I did, I didn't get a chance to read it, so that's why it's on my table now today. So we have what is a spirit, modes of manifestation, spirit skills, respect and authority, prayers, spells, get to know the locals, fear and danger, friendly conjuring, compelling conjuration, intermediate spirits and familiars, relationships and pacts, questions and answers. That's what is in this book. So this is one of the first ones I think I'm going to dive into. So another deck that I feel is a deck for the descent, but I actually feel it's a deck for the anytime. And that is Between the Worlds, Shadow Casting with Bone and Curio Oracle cards by Monica Budursky, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. I wrote all over mine because I wanted a quick word that I could use without having to go to the guidebook every single time when I just wanted to throw them like Lenormand style to do a reading. Even though I have the keywords on here, the guidebook is phenomenal. I really do enjoy it and have referenced it many times just to get a little bit of a deeper meaning to the cards. But sometimes just the keyword that I wrote on here is just enough to give me what I need when I'm pairing it with other cards. So just from the aesthetic of the whole deck, that really speaks to the darker time of the year, or even Halloween, which is the month that I started using this in. So I don't know why my cards are all different directions, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Using this, like I said, Lenormand style, just like 3 cards, getting a sentence kind of from it, has just been so spot on, exactly what I needed to hear. I don't know why I hesitated and waited so long to finally pick up this deck, because this is one I'm really glad that I've added to my collection, because it's really been a joy to work with. Another deck that I tend to pull out during this time of year is the Southern Gothic Oracle by Stacey Williams. This is an independent deck. I think this feels like this time of the year for me, maybe because of the imagery and the borders on the deck, because this is really an oracle that you could use anytime, but it just has that more, it just has a more darker vibe, I guess, to it. That's just my feelings anyway. Like I said, maybe it's just the borders or the way the images are. I love it. I love it to death. I really enjoy the keywords on here, and I really rarely go to the guidebook for readings for this. I have the Haunts pack mixed in here too. But like I said, I rarely go to the guidebook. I just go by the keywords on the bottom. I always use it with tarot. Sometimes you have those oracle decks and you'll pull a card and then the reading surrounding it, the energy just doesn't seem to mix or doesn't fit or something is missing. But never, ever have I felt that with this deck. Everything that I've done with this, I've had clear and concise readings. And oh my God, we had possums living under our porch when I was a kid. I will never forget that. I was scared the crap out of all of us. So, but anyway, I don't feel this is a gentle oracle either. You know, there's some of those oracles that are just so gentle and they'll ease you into a situation, and not this one. This one for me is just like, okay, here it is. Here's the energy. Here's what's going on. Here's what you need to deal with. So let's talk about another book that I am going to read as we move through the season, and that is Steele Alexandra Doris, Spirits, Seers, and Seances, Victorian Spiritualism, Magic, and the Supernatural. This book explores the history of automatic writing, cartomancy, clairvoyance, and more. It reveals how Victorian belief in ghosts, fairies, and nature spirits shaped our celebrations of Halloween and Christmas. This book has sections. There are 4 sections. Part 1, The Soul of Spiritualism, Core Beliefs and Practices, and then there's chapters for that. Part 2, The Invisible World, Shades of the Victorian Supernatural, and then chapters for that. Part 3, Magic in Victorian Media, and then part 4, Seasonal Spirits and Superstitions. Plus there are exercises on different pages here. So I'm looking forward to diving into this. I think this will be a fun read to see, you know, where the history of certain things came from, and how it was done in the Victorian era. So the next deck that gives me those dark descent vibes is the Heaven and Earth Tarot. This deck is by Jack Sephiroth and Jamie Elford. First of all, this deck has a whole entire mood surrounding it. And I had this deck for almost 2 years before I actually picked it up and started using it. And I have this belief that decks come to us at the right time, or that even if we've purchased a deck, that's why I never am quick to get rid of anything. I haven't really gotten rid of anything, but because I didn't connect with it at the very beginning, I just knew it wasn't my time to work with it. And then when I finally did sit down and work with it, I had the best experience with it. And I was grateful that I hadn't gotten rid of it or wrote it off or anything like that. And I let myself ease into it when I needed to. I did use this deck in some past life work, and reading was so eye-opening, and the imagery really played into the aspect of the reading. And when I saw that happening and I easily, intuitively read the images with this deck, I knew that this was one that I wanted to explore more outside of just the past life work. So I can't wait to see where this deck takes me, because I've really only done a handful of readings with it. And like I said, with the whole black and white and the gray background to every single image that is here, that really does put you in the darker half of the year mood. And I kind of feel like this is currently filling the vibe of my Darkness of Light tarot obsession. I really want that deck. I've hesitated and hesitated on getting that deck. It's currently out of print though. So I'm waiting to see if it comes back around where I could pick up the Darkness of Light Tarot. Especially Kristy showed it. I believe that's the one that Kristy showed in her VR, or yeah, her VR to this tag. So right now this one's kind of filling that void, but I'm looking forward to exploring this more, and this just is a whole fall winter vibe with the way these images are. An oracle that I would like to explore and get to know during this descent period is the Solitary Witch Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, artwork by Lady Victoria. I've seen this shown on several channels, and the deck always intrigued me, and I hesitated picking it up, but I think it was on Candy's channel. I'm pretty sure that was the push me over the edge to really want to explore this deck. The images are dark, the borders are dark. I mean, this image is a little bit lighter, but it really does speak to that colder season, darker season. And I really want to see what this deck is going to teach me or make me aware of, or how it can bring a clarity, you know, to my life. It does stick together for me though. It's on that kind of matte, I guess, cardstock, but this really is a darker theme deck with this imagery and everything, and I can't wait to dive into this deeper. And I heard that the guidebook for this, like I said, I've only done like a couple readings with it, but the guidebook is beautiful, and I think that's what really pushed me into wanting to explore this energy more. Another book that I want to read as we go through this darker season is Cunning Words, A Grimoire of Tales and Magic by Marshall. He is or they are, I'm not sure, the Witch of Southern Light on Instagram. I've been following their account for quite some time, so I knew that he or they were writing this book, and I'm really anxious to explore it. This is their first book. I know he's coming out with a second one, so the magic within this book is influenced by folkloric witchcraft and the cunning practitioners of new and old. In this book, the three mothers will teach you to bless, to heal, and to curse. The seven holy siblings will teach you their celestial power. The spirits of the land and sea seek to make bargains, and the Lord of the Crossroads offers their hand. All you have to do is take it. So I'm interested in exploring this little Cunning Words grimoire type book, and to see what it has to teach me. Maybe I'll learn something from it. I really enjoyed when they were reading little snippets out of their book and posting it on Instagram and everything. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this one also. Another deck that I am currently drawn to using is The Influence of the Angels Tarot by Jody Baginski-Barbesi. And this is a US Games. Now, this isn't only a dark time of the year deck, but when I have been reaching in my cabinet for a deck, I have been wanting to pull out The Influence of the Angels. I adore this deck. I've talked about this deck numerous other times in other videos. Maybe it's the goldish border around it that is putting me in mind of fall and that fall energy. But this deck is comforting, but forthright also. So I really enjoy this deck immensely. This is the one that I keep for myself. I have two other decks that are similar that I use to read for clients and other people. This deck is mine, all mine. It's only for me and messages for me kind of thing. So But yeah, this really just puts me, maybe it's the imagery of it also, this starts putting me in the mood for the darker half of the year. But whatever it is, this deck is thoroughly enjoyable. And like I said, one that I have been reaching to use a lot lately. An oracle that I love to pull during this time of the year, actually all the way through spring. I rarely use it in the summer, but fall through early spring, and that is the Cottage Witch Oracle by Krista over at Krista Chronicles. I adore this deck. I use it for so many different things. I use it to read with. I use it in ritual. I use it in spell work. I use it for everything, honestly. And this is the perfect deck to ease you into that dark time of the year because of the parchment style background. I like the simplicity of the images, then the words and the keyword that goes with it. She used to sell this on her Etsy shop, but I think it's only on Make Playing Cards now. You could definitely check out her channel, Krista Chronicles, for information about this deck. But this is the one, it's the first oracle that I tend to pull out as we start to get into that fall season. And like I said, I will use it for the months to come until we move into spring. I don't know why. I don't know why I don't pull it out in the summer. But she has several different expansion packs that go with it. I have all of the expansion packs. This is one of the winter ones here. So this is just such a lovely and enjoyable deck and perfect for this time of the year. Another tarot that I have been called to use as we descend into the darkness is the Witch Sister Tarot. This is by Julia Jeffries. This deck I have been using to work with and to get messages in my work with Hecate. I didn't really have the full intentions of using this deck in that work. I didn't know what deck I was going to use, and I just felt called to pull this one out. And the first reading right from the get-go with her energy, the first reading had multiple symbols in the cards that were in relation to her, and I knew that this was the right choice for that. So while I am exploring my work with that energy and what I have to learn from it, this is the deck that I will be pulling out and using with that. I'm looking forward to exploring this deck not only through that lens, but I'm looking forward to exploring it when I'm done with this work on its own also. But just the imagery and the people on here really does lean towards that dark descent, dark time of the year, and moving you into that space. The last book I have that is sitting out on my table to read during this dark time of the year is Access Your Power and Creativity Through Sacred Female Archetypes, Sage, Huntress, Lover, Queen by Mara Bronscombe. Weaving the fine strands of archetypal wisdom into a rich tapestry, this guide provides soul-empowering mind-body formulas that become field notes on a visionary's path as the embodied feminine within comes alive. You will discover how each cycle and experience in life are part of the continuous unfolding of your own living ceremony. I believe I saw this book talked about on Kristy's channel also. I think it was last year. I think she did a tag that was attached to this book. So this is very interesting to me, this divine feminine work. We have Invoking the Divine Feminine Way, Revealing the Archetypes, Reclaiming Creativity, Restoring Authenticity with the Maiden. Then we go into the Mother, Forging Love and to Fortify Spirit. Chapter 3 is Sage Spirit, Intuitive Waters Flow. The Huntress, visionary activist, warrior spirit. The Lover, dancer of intimacy, self-love, alchemist, compassionate, revolutionary. Awakening the Mystic, truth seeker, vision holder, divine space explorer. The Queen, knowledge weaver, vision activator, evolved leader. And then finally, the Weaver's work, integrating the soul wisdom of the feminine archetypes. So I am interested in diving into this and seeing what I can learn about these different feminine archetypes in here. So the oracle that I have plans for the dark half of the year is the Poesis Oracle, created by Andrea Wan. And this is an independent. I picked this up off of Etsy. The only reason I am labeling this as a darker half of the year deck is the coloring. The cream and the black coloring of it. That's really the only reason. I think this is an all-around year reader, honestly. But there's just something about this that is making me want to pull it out now. I've had this for several months and I've used it very little. So I find myself gravitating towards this deck a little bit more now. So I'm feeling like maybe this is going to be an oracle for this time of the year for me, which is fine. Or if I want to pull it out in the middle of summer, that's fine too. I try not to put too many labels on things. There's well, the version I have does not have a guidebook with it. I think you can purchase the guidebook separately now, but I think there's just a lot to go on just from the keyword and letting your intuition take what it wants to take from the images on the cards, and letting that speak to you in its own way, and seeing how you feel looking at that image, and seeing what it brings up in you as you look at that image. And that's really how I plan on using this deck. So like I said, I haven't done very much work with it at all. Little bit here and there, but I am really looking forward to exploring this on kind of a deeper level as we go throughout, you know, now into that winter season. And I just feel like this will be perfect for that time. And the last deck is Tarot of the Huntress. This is newer in my collection, and this is an independent deck put out by, I know her name, she changed the name of her Etsy store, and I'm sorry, it is completely escaping me. Oh, Kara Small. There we go. And I don't know what the name of her Etsy store is right now, but it is on Etsy. So you can find it there. It's on a linen cardstock. This deck is lovely. It doesn't come with a guidebook. There is a PDF version of the guidebook that you can get once you purchase the deck. But I love the images that she curated or put together for this deck, and it just, part of it puts me in mind of that Pensive path energy. I love the idea of working with the goddess Artemis or Diana, and I'm looking forward to exploring this one as we go through this darker season. I was deciding between this one or my Persephone deck, which that may be another contender that I pull out and work with as we go into the darker time of the year. But since this is, like I said, very new to my collection, I thought I would go ahead and show it on here in case you've never seen it. So I'm really excited about exploring this energy. This image right here, which I cannot remember what the name of this image is, means a lot to me because my grandmother had sent me a card that had this image on it right here, this exact image. So I loved when I saw that that image was in this deck. And if you know what that's called, let me know, because I don't know what that's from. So that is all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments below what decks you are using as we're moving into the darker half of the year. I want to be authentic and say, if I feel like pulling out one of my happy-go-lucky spring decks, I will pull one of those out also. But there are decks that I just seem to gravitate towards during this season. So that's honest when I say that. If you haven't seen Kristy's tag, be sure to go check it out. I will have a link to her tag in the description box below. So be sure to go check out her channel and everything, and jump on the tag if you haven't done so already. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you being here. Give the video a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until I see you next time, bye.